and then to his people, and to spread Christ's teaching, shown best through the Catholic Church. So she's a Catholic through and through.
Yes, and a very strong devotion to the Blessed Sacrament, the Eucharist, adoration. Oh, yes. Did you once tell me that part of the requirement for the missionaries of charities was to stay before the Blessed Sacrament? Did you say 3 hours a day, John? Is that correct?
No, I believe that they're required 1 hour. But I would say most of them spend close to 3 hours between Mass in the morning, during the day, and then 1 hour. For example, the convent here on 145th Street, I know that every day they have a holy hour from 6 to 7. And people, by the way, anyone who's in the area, are invited in. Yeah. So there's a holy hour with the Blessed Sacrament exposed, the Eucharist.
With the people in the community, with the neighborhood?
Yeah, well, the holy hour is basically for the sisters, but they invite people to come so you can join with them. But they, religiously, to use that word, are there every single day in front of the Blessed Sacrament for an hour. Yes. And she says that that is the strength of her work and empowers her and her sister.
And I know on many occasions you would transport Mother Teresa from different activities and different events. Could you tell us one of the most meaningful, or one of the ones that stuck, stayed in your mind, stood out pretty strongly?
I would say at the Eucharistic Congress in the 70s, she was invited there, and I think on the same day that I had taken the sisters down there, Grace Kelly, Princess Grace, you remember him in Monaco, he was speaking. And then all this was going on, and there were a lot of speakers, cardinals and bishops and great men, and this hall was huge, and Mother was introduced, and she came out, this little tiny woman, under 5 feet, little small person, with her sari, the white sari, with no notes, no papers. And she got in front of the microphone and transfixed that group of people for a half an hour, just speaking from the top of her head. And they hung on every word.
Her holiness, her goodness.
Her holiness came through.
Yes, and Mother Teresa was a very strong advocate of pro-life. Could you tell us some more, and how today, the tragedy that has assaulted unborn children, between partial birth abortion, the bills being passed and overruled, and they say that one of the most dangerous positions to be in this country today is that of an unborn child. Could you?
Yeah, I think she looked at it this way when she talked about abortion, and she was referring actually to the United States in particular, though it's a problem throughout the world. She would say, this is the greatest poverty of all, is abortion. So here we think, the richest country in the world, and we have everything, and we do, but we have lost the sense of life.
The sacredness.
The sacredness of life, the meaning, and that's what concerned her. And so she would say to any mother, come to her, and the church teaches this, I know Cardinal O'Connor was strong on it, come to her with that child and she will make sure that child is taken care of. Do not, destroy your child. You'll never forget it. It'll be a missing part of your life.
And also, too, John, for anyone who might be in doubt or in question or in fear, who might be watching us today with this conversation, how can we speak to them? How can we make them know that there is hope, and the evil one is so good at destroying and ripping apart, and fear, such the great conqueror? Give some words of wisdom to someone who's in a quandary right now about which direction to go in a pregnancy.
I would say look at, like my family, I have 5 children. Come and, see people like that. See the happiness that we have by staying, because I have 5 children. And I wouldn't give any of them away to anybody. And now I have 15 grandchildren. And so my life is rich because of that. And I'd like women who are struggling with that, especially somebody that's had 1 or 2 children and she's afraid to have the 3rd children. I mean, I have 5, and they've all been a great blessing to me. I'm with them. They're all practicing Catholics, and they're trying to bring their children up that way. and we're a happy family. So if you see happiness by following through with having your unborn child, having that child, you'll see that its goodness follows. It's not a question of losing money or whatever. It's a question of happiness in life. And
That's a beautiful reply. And so often, too, people, women who are in this position, unfortunately, sometimes they've come from dysfunctional, generations of dysfunction, and not quite sure how to, they don't have a pattern, they don't have a role model to know which way to go. And our God, being the God of miracles, will supply. And it just sounds so simplistic, but both of us being the beneficiaries of so many of God's miracles, it is a reality, and God definitely will provide. So feel safe and know that the generational curse can definitely be lifted by a God of healing.
yes, and the richness of having even the small child. Now, what about a mother who's not married? This is more or less a common occurrence today. Our sexual mores have changed. So what happens is pregnancies. They're not even necessarily out of love. The sexual drive is in all of us. And so it comes to that. What happens to this mother who's not married and she has no way of taking care of the child? Right away she's going to say, well, the easiest way, because it's very easy, maybe it costs $400 or $500, whatever it does today, to eliminate the child. But there are organizations, and if you contact me, certainly, there are organizations that will take care of that child, will see you through. Chris Slattery is one who has the Crisis Pregnancy Center. He will see you through the whole pregnancy. And if you can't take care of the child, that will be done quietly, and the child will be taken care of. But don't lose that child. It could be, as we're talking, that child could be another Mother Teresa that would save the world. And God knows we need people like that.
The innocence of life, the purity of life. What could be more pure, innocent than a newborn child? So yes,
it
John.
can be the worst decision of your life to have an abortion. I have to say that because I believe that.
Yes. And John, speaking of your family, we have to give, she's not here this morning, but some wonderful credit to your beautiful wife, Anne, who's even shyer and more humble than you are, if that's possible. Can you talk to us a little bit about Anne for a few minutes and your beautiful children and grandchildren? But we need to zero in on this helpmate. I've never seen two people more evenly yoked than you and Anne, scripturally speaking.
We just are very, very happy. We get along wonderfully together right from the beginning. I mean, my life is fulfilled in her, and I hope in some way I fulfill her. It's been a wonderful life. I'm 77 years old. It could end tomorrow, and I have everything, and because of my wife. And the two of us, to have our children, to have a human being that really belongs to you or comes from you. We all belong to Christ. To be part of your family and be that close, and I am close with them. I speak to them every day. My son, I'm very proud of him. He's got 5 children.
Can you mention your children's names for us?
Sure. My son, Stephen, and his wife, Jane, and they have 5 children. They live up in Warwick, New York. He's the oldest. The second, the oldest is Joanne. She's married, and she lives in Mawar. She has 1 child. And the third is Lisa, and she lives in Chatham. She has 4 children, 3 boys and a girl. And then there's Laura, and she has 3 children, a boy and 2 girls. And they live in Cold Snake. Her husband's name is Bob. And my youngest is Patrice. Patrice lives in South Carolina, just over the border beneath Charlotte. And she's married to a convert. And they have 2 girls, Carl and Patrice. So I'm very proud of them.
Oh, that's so wonderful. God has blessed you so strongly with your family. Yes. And John, we can't really end the show without talking about, we know how you feel about Jesus and the Blessed Trinity, but your overwhelmingly beautiful, beautiful devotion to the Blessed Mother.